How's it going? My name's Eric, and I just moved here from far away. I'm going to do a poem that I wrote last week about that exact experience. It's called If You Asked If the Cold Weather Reminded Me of Home. Golden Gate Park, at 9 in the evening, calm of fresh September, has the air textured and shaded like a dirty goldfish bowl. The underwater quality all blue and dense. This fog is the breath my country exhales, sighs spanning the Atlantic, rolling in to woo me with its grey whisper. Cool tendrils all on my bare limbs like tentacles, belonging to a beast from the belly of the ocean, who reclaims girls who ran away from home, leaving them on beaches, skirts torn, salty hair, its call is deafening in this cool wet air, singing, "Stop back to the land where the rain never stops, child. Your freckles have no currency. You look better in the cold. I'm not sure who you thought you were, running away like that, but I forgive you. Let me hold you. Let me hold you." I hear it, and I unwind myself, unpeel the damp from my skin, stepping into the taxi. The slam of the door says what my voice is too weak to. I am sorry, but I'm not going with you, fog. I'm not going back there again. Comes in a million years for the light clap after every poem. It's grand. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be out here. So, one of the many things that happens when you move 5,000 miles from everyone that you love, bar one, is you leave your friends behind. So this is a piece called Tea Bitch, because I don't know about here, but at home it's a very necessary rite of friendship passage to drink all the tea that you can get your hands on with the people you love the most. And it's going for a cup of tea or sitting down and having a cup of tea is something that is every day. But when you're far away from it, it seems a lot more important. So I wrote this a while ago, and it's for my tribe at home. It's called Tea Bitch. Brown milk water in hot cups, steaming up into faces warped by frustration, picking through the rubble of each other's broken homes, tasting for the hope left over. But when there are no saccharine crystals there, we relish that bitterness. I'll take venom over sugar anytime. He's a prick. She is so pointless. He's acting like a child. She is acting like a child. The warmth of the drink is the only heat left in us here. Aren't we cold things? Aren't we? The leaves are burnt and wet in the bottom of the mugs. Each damp bandit or rebel escaped from their cotton bag prisons, lying in clusters that swear to map our futures, scattered from some god's hand on the ceramic white. Yet the only black dogs are here are you and I, sister. So let us bare our teeth beneath these dark coats united, and if hot drink ever fails us, I will put my hands around yours for warmth instead. I will keep my claws for the fools who would hurt you. This is a poem that I wrote with I run a literary journal in Ireland with another incredible woman called Kerry O'Brien, who runs about this tall and is like a condensed fury of the universe in flesh. And one night we were both up at stupid o'clock talking about if we were ever given the ability to forget all the horrendous people we had encountered horizontally or otherwise, would we actually do it? Would we elect to forget them? And we decided ultimately no. So this is, because The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind was on that evening, which led to the conversation. So this poem is called The Eternal Sunshine of Conversations with Friends at 4 AM. So it's for her. If they linked me to nodes on an electronic machine that could search elite memories stuck on repeat, that could restore sites of trauma to their former untouched glory, street corners would just be street corners, not minefields, ready to pull limbs from me with the force of these scenes restaged by ghost us over and over each time I pass. If they hooked me up and turn dark these lit up spots on the map of me. I'm sure they gel my celluloid after the cut so meticulously that I'd never even known the pictures were missing. But my muscles would remember. My hands would trace your shape still, my mouth sing your breathlessness, my cheek scarred from the tenderness of the fingerprints from your left hand. You do not just live in the geography of the city in my brain, but on the streets of my body. You are signposts and architecture, traffic in my veins. They'd have to take all of me apart to take a slice of you from me. My skin will not unknow yours. This is a poem called Boy in the Red Skirt, which is very self-explanatory. True story. 1993. The play school was in the back of a house near mine, a dress-up box bigger than both of us combined. Somehow, though, together, we were drawn to this red silk thing, like bull children, waved down by an invisible, trouble-making matador in the bottom of this chest. We charged for it, but reached it at once. Two sets of hands, one little boy, one little girl, one red skirt. We roared on collision. I needed to be a princess. Red was your favorite color, but I saw it first. But I don't care, it's mine. We were placed in separate corners, while our fellow toddlers danced to songs about numbers. We weren't allowed to dance because we didn't know how to share. The skirt was gone by the next day. I was shocked to see you at our first day of grown-up kid school. In the 8 years that followed, the skirt was a crimson spectre. My fury at you was bloody and silken until the day you brought James Bond GoldenEye to my house and we played Nintendo 64 and you held my hand on the sofa. You'd become handsome when I saw you again, 21. Your voice baritone, your smile familiar. Your surname had become your first name. I meant to ask you, did you remember the skirt? But I was too busy pretending not to think about it, because that's what people do when they grow up. Anybody here a vegetarian? Sorry! Sorry! For a boy with such innocent eyes, you sure do have a tongue with a taste for the murder, the guilty turns, the smiling sides of your mouth when you talk about how foie gras feels as it melts down your throat, or venison sausage that makes my face grey. That was a baby deer. I know. You go. I had a fight with a vegan called Jennifer on New Year's Eve. She held a smoke and a can and told me that it is an established scientific fact that meat gives you cancer. I told her she was wrong, and if she was right, I still didn't care. I lit up a fresh smoke and I looked over at you, wondering about the possibility of every goose overfed coming to implant you with bad cells in your sleep. Tonight, I will take the tender hearts of tiny chickens, try to exorcise them in a pot with garlic and cream, present them to you over soft curls of pasta and warm spinach, smiling shyly, look, I made this, knowing that if these feathered creatures ever came for their revenge upon you, my knives are sharper than their ghost beaks. And if they should get past me, I would pull out your tumors with my bare hands. I was a teacher for a while. That was hardcore. And one thing, I got mad loads of colds and flus during my first few weeks there because, you know, that's what happens when you're surrounded with dozens of grimy kids, and any teacher will tell you that. And I worked very closely with an amazing, amazing librarian. And one thing she always said to me on the hardest days was, after 2 years, it gets easier. So this is all they say: after 2 years, it gets easier. I am a crowd of boys and girls with sleepy voices and bloodshot eyes, bullets still lodged in their thighs, stabbing men who can't speak English, only in the shoulder, nowhere that it counts. I am a crowd of girls and boys who lie to me that they've seen the dead, felt them present, flicking lights, knocking cousins out cold. I see ghosts, miss, I see ghosts for a moment of eye contact, a moment of attention, connection, approval, gold star, A+, pay attention to me, not them, I'm special, I see ghosts, miss, I see ghosts. I am a crowd of girls and boys who are short for 13, with appendix scars the length of their arms and can still drive their dad's Jeep on the sly once or twice around the estates, even though their legs in a cast from being kicked in. They did not fall off one of the horses in the field. It was kicked in. It was kicked right in. I am a crowd of girls and boys who shave their heads and force their accents away to make sure that everyone knows punk rock's not dead and they will make it out of here someday, alive and armed with stories and such hope, knowing that no dealer will ever cross shadows on their paths again. I am a crowd of boys and girls who build shrines to their dead in the corners of their bedrooms, with the jumpers of loved ones amidst candles and rosaries, to pray to a God who wasn't there the day he got shot, or the day that she hung herself. I am a crowd of girls and boys, even though, for them, I am only ever the woman at the front of the room while they sit in clusters, half listening, and I try to tell them that poetry is what happens when your soul falls out of your hands, and when they write for me one by one, I take who they are into my hands. As I read, I take who they are into my head, past my skull, and into the electricity that makes me go, even then. So, when the bell rings, and they evaporate to history or maths, when the day's done and I'm not a teacher anymore, I'm still a crowd of girls and boys. I'm always a crowd of girls and boys. I actually got a tweet off one of my previous students yesterday because the school term started again, and I was like heartwarmed by the fact that they remembered who I was. So this off piece is from my mother, and it's very short. It's called My Ma Makes Wedding Cakes. She holds a pointed piece of wood, longer than a cocktail stick, tipped with red dyes made of beetle shells and numbers, to the petals of a sugared white rose. I watch, transfixed, hands that know the secret meaning of zeros and ones, see, dots, run, hands that from a ball of icing make nature bloom. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker, mother, artist, computer programmer, she places it by a column, among sisters just like it. I chew marzipan, wondering, do the flowers taste sweeter by her hands? She picks one from the cake and passes it to me. I hold it in my small palm as she holds me in hers. And yeah.